Hi everyone, and welcome to my second video. Before I begin, I want to introduce myself. My name is Jessica Peterson, and I'm a licensed social worker. I provide outpatient mental health and substance abuse therapy services for Harbor Beach Hospital, and I work right out of the medical clinics providing therapy. So yesterday I talked about stress and coping with stress during a pandemic. And today I want to talk about, as an extension, I want to talk about parents and helping your children and teens deal with that stress. Before I begin, though, and get into the tips, I want to tell you how important it is to be a role model for your children as far as calmly and confidently dealing with COVID-19 and the pandemic as best you can. Children and teens really look up to adults, and their parents or caregivers, they will model a lot of the same behaviors as the parent or caregiver. So it's very important, especially in times like this, to be able to talk to your children about stress and coping. So, like yesterday's video, I talked about common reactions to stress, and I emphasized that I'm going to list a few of them, but that doesn't mean that that's everybody's common reaction, and that yours could look a little bit different. And it all comes down to really knowing your body and yourself. But today, when I talk about children and teens stress reactions, the same thing goes. So one of the a common stress reaction in teens and children is excessive crying or irritation in younger children. Um, Returning to behaviors that they have outgrown. So this could be bedwetting, toilet training, if they're regressing, um, excessive worry or sadness, unexplained headaches and body pains, and sometimes that's the stomach ache, and irritability and acting out behavior in teens. So the tips I'm going to talk about are ways that you can support your children and teens through this, and hopefully even after this is done. But remember also that you know your children and teenagers better than most people. So you will be able to tell them what some of these tips and things, what's appropriate for their age level. And I also want to make a disclaimer. Remember, we're all trying to do the best we can with what we have. I don't want you to get down on yourself if you feel like you're not doing enough as the other parent or as the other person. And I also want to let you know that I understand that everybody's situation is a little bit different right now. It's simply just a weird time. So we have either parents who are staying home, parents who are still working and needing to find childcare. We have parents who are still working and their teenagers are at home. And all of the above, we have just a lot of different situations. So I understand that some of these tips may work better for the one person and maybe not at all for the next, but take that into consideration. So number one, take time to talk to your children and teens about COVID-19. Let them ask any questions and answer the best you can. I included some resources in the comment section from the CDC, and they talk about what are facts of COVID-19 versus myths. That might be a good place to start. And just be open and let them know it's okay to be upset about what's going on and that you're here to listen. Number two, reassuring your teens and children that they are safe. Let them know it's okay to feel the way they're feeling. If they're upset, if they're angry, maybe they're not feeling any sort of way and they're just happy to be home. Let them know whatever emotion it's okay to feel and that you're there to talk about it. Sometimes it can be uncomfortable to talk about emotions or feelings, but they've got to know that it's okay and they can come to you to talk about these things. Let them know how you deal with stress. If age appropriate, let them know how you are coping, and kind of brainstorm some solutions. Number three, Again, limiting your family's exposure to news coverage. Um, so, especially news coverage of the event. We know it's kind of on almost 24/7 now. Limiting some of that. Young children, and even some older children, what they hear on the news, they can misinterpret that just the same that we as adults do. They can misinterpret and get frightened by that. So being able to talk about what's on the news and limiting what your children are seeing. And this includes news on social media. Number 4, again, this is to your discretion, and this is doing the best you can with what you have. Trying to keep up with regular routines. So let's say routines for bedtime, routines for waking up, routines for mealtime. Kids and teenagers thrive on routines, and I will talk a little bit more about this in the next couple tips, but it can really throw off their emotional well-being, mental well-being when there's such drastic changes. So the best you can, trying to stick to some of those, and also trying to schedule some fun activities, some learning activities, some activities where they can relax. Um, that's very important. Number 5, making a virtual playdate. Do your children have maybe a best friend? Do they have a schoolmate that they're missing? Maybe using as a virtual, they can be able to see that other person. And you can also use this with loved ones, as there's maybe grandparents that they haven't been able to see, aunts, uncles, cousins. If you have the ability, there's many different ways now we can communicate face to face through technology. You can use Skype, Zoom. You can use FaceTime on some iPhones. And I don't know the Android one, but there's also a video sharing thing for Android. Any of these are pretty usually easy to download and can be a great way for you and your children to stay connected to their loved ones. So number 6, me time. It is very important for everyone in the house. That means kids, that means parents, that means the dog. For everyone in the house to have their own me time, if this is possible. So if it's possible, set some time aside in your day, whether that's while you're at home, maybe you're working from home, maybe is going to have to be when you get home from work. Setting some of that time so that the kids maybe have a quiet time, but also so that you as a parent or a caregiver are getting the break that you deserve and can maybe indulge in something, even if it's just for a short amount of time, something that you want to do and something that will help you unwind. So some of that could be maybe you want to unwind watching just an episode of your favorite TV show. Maybe you want to enjoy your favorite snack without your kids asking for a bite. It could be something as simple as that. But taking time for yourself, even if it's a short period of time, maybe it's 20 to 30 minutes, maybe it's 15 minutes, taking that time for yourself is going to ensure you're taking care of yourself the best way you can too. Number 7, going outside. I know there's a lot of things that we're not able to do, but we can still go out in our backyards. Today it's very sunny. You can enjoy some of that sunshine and get out. Maybe your kids can play outside. Um, just letting some of that sunshine in is going to help. Number 8, plan activities to pass the time. Now, again, this may be during the week if you are home with your children. Maybe it's the weekend. Maybe you're working right now and the weekend's the only time you have for some of this. But plan some activities. There's a couple great resources in the comment section. One of them I think is like 101 things you can do with your children. And some of that they suggest like doing puzzles, taking classes and fun things online. I know there's a virtual trip to Disney you can take. You can experience some of the rides. There's a lot of aquariums right now that are offering visits through the computer. So doing some of those fun educational things with your children um, are very, very great ways to spend time during this pandemic, during isolation. We also have board games. You could have a family board game night with people in your house, cards. You can try doing a virtual game night. If you have people that you usually play games with, maybe setting up some virtual. It may be a little awkward, but at least you're getting that interaction and you're trying to incorporate some activities in. Um, Number 9, check in with yourself and your partner to um, talk about how both of you are handling some stress as a parent, as a caregiver. Open and honest communication is very, very important, and learning to recognize that feelings of loneliness, boredom, fear, and anxiety are normal reactions to a stressful time like this. So you may need some time out for yourself. You may need to reach out to friends. You may need to reach out to family or a mental health professional if you feel that you're struggling with some of these um, signs, some of these loneliness, boredom, fear, anxiety. Reach out. People are here to help. And even if it's just talking to a friend or family member, we're all getting through this together. And last but not least, cut yourself and your children some slack. When routines are changed and some completely turned upside down, kids and parents can be really off their game. That's just a given. Um, we're kind of living day by day at this point. We don't know exactly what's going to be coming next. So give yourself a break. This is going to be difficult. These schedule changes are going to be difficult. So some days are just going to be harder than others. But don't dwell on things that you could have done different, or the should haves, or the would haves, or the could haves. Um, and don't scroll through social media and compare yourself to what different parents are doing, what parents are posting that they've done. Remember that everyone is different and we all have different routines, different schedules, different opportunities. And just know that, again, everyone is doing the best that they can. So instead, try and focus more on positive moments throughout your day. This can be a great opportunity for memories to be made. Um, this is just a time where we are going to have to look at, okay, so what is the positive side of what's going on? What can we say is good? What can we be grateful and show some gratitude for what we have right now? So those are some of the tips. Again, I have the resources in the comment section, so feel free to click on those and look around. And I will be back tomorrow.